Baldur's Gate 3 is good.
Why would you say something so controversial yet so brave?
Saying that Baldur's Gate 3 is good is like kicking in the most open door you can find. It has been said again and again. But that is because it is simply that good. But before we jump into this glazing session, let's get this out of the way. I've played a lot of RPGs. The Witcher 3 ruined my social life. DOS 2 made me question my life choices every time I managed to set myself on fire. And don't even get me started on Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. That game's character creator alone could fill a PhD thesis. But Baldur's Gate 3? It's just different. It just hits different. Because for me, Baldur's Gate 3 feels like coming home. Not to my actual home, where my laundry is perpetually unfolded, but to that feeling you get when a game just clicks. It's like Larian Studios reached into my brain, pulled out everything I've ever loved about RPGs and then said, "Hey, what if you made this, but better?" But here's the thing, Baldur's Gate didn't just meet my sky-high expectations, it smashed them. So today, we're diving into why Baldur's Gate 3 isn't just a great RPG, it's a genre-defining masterpiece. And yes, we will be talking about the bear scene. But let's rewind a bit. Before Baldur's Gate 3, Larian was the underdog of RPGs. They made some cult classics, but Divinity Original Sin 2 put them on the map. That game was like the RPG equivalent of a Michelin star meal, cooked in a food truck. Shockingly good, but a little rough around the edges. Then, in 2019, Larian dropped a bombshell. Baldur's Gate 3. Cue the collective panic of CRPG fans, because Baldur's Gate isn't just a game, it's sacred ground. The originals defined the genre with their epic stories, complex characters and that sweet D&D rule set. Trying to reboot it? That's kinda remaking Lord of the Rings. You're either gonna be a legend or get roasted alive on Reddit. But Larian kind of had a secret weapon. Early access. Now I'll be honest, I usually hate early access. For every success story, there's the Star Citizen of Chronicles of Illyria. Games that just take your money and then vanish faster than a rogue with a bag of gold. But Larian? They used early access like a focus group from heaven. Let players test their game for 3 years, tweaking everything from combat balance to companion AI. Halsin actually went from a minor character to a full party member because he was just that interesting. Yep, no other reason. And here's the kicker, they'd actually done this before. Divinity Original Sin 2 Early Access also had player-driven development, but Baldur's Gate 3 was bigger and riskier. They weren't just making a game, they were going to revive a legacy. Because imagine if you're trying to modernize Casablanca while also teaching Gen Z what a rickroll is. That's kind of the tightrope Larian walked here. Trying to appeal and appease both the older crowd as well as bring the new ones in. 3 years of player feedback shaped everything. And this wasn't just beta testing, it was a collaboration. And when the game finally launched, it was just done. It was polished for the most part. Compare that to most AAA games and it's 6 months of patches to be playable even. Let's talk about D&D. You know, that thing your weird cousin would shut about. That's me, I'm the weird cousin. Turns out, it's cool now. And the game came out at the exact right time to take advantage of this. Larian didn't just manage to adapt or copy D&D 5th edition rules, they bottled the chaotic energy of a tabletop session. Because you know that moment when your DM sighs and says, "Fine, you can try to seduce the dragon." That's Baldur's Gate 3, the game wants you to experiment. Want to cast Speak with Animals and argue with a squirrel? Go for it. Want to throw a healing potion at a zombie? Sure, why not? But Baldur's Gate 3 didn't just succeed in a vacuum. It rode a wave of D&D mania, thanks to shows like Critical Role and Dimension 20. Suddenly everyone's a dice-rolling, rules-lawyering nerd. Even TikTok's obsessed. Hashtag D&D Talk has over 10 billion views. Baldur's Gate 3 tapped into that zeitgeist, and it's the perfect gateway drug for new players. And let's not forget the marketing. Or lack of it. Larian didn't need flashy trailers or celebrity endorsements, even though they got them. They let the game speak for itself. Players did the rest. Memes and car-like approval flooded social media. I vividly remember watching that panel from hell when the bear scene was shown, and just how much discussion was sparked afterward. The game became a cultural moment in the gaming space, not because of ads, but because it was just that good. And while speaking about good things, let's talk about the state of the world. Hi and welcome back to the news. Let's see what's been going on lately. Rampant inequality? Check. Corrupt authorities exploiting refugees for profit? You betcha. An existential threat to democracy fueled by people with literal brain-eating parasites? Oh, absolutely. This was meant to be a stupid joke, but it's absurd how well this fits. But of course I'm talking about Faerun. What else would it be? Just in general. As far as video game worlds or maps go, this is for sure up there with the greats. The amount of detail and care that's gone into areas is very clear. And Faerun has been around since the 70s. But Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't assume you've memorized 50 years of lore. It tells you what it needs to and shows you the rest. Because compare this to Dark Souls. You know, when a game's world is so rich, so dense with lore, but you need a PhD to even understand it. Baldur's Gate avoids this by making exploration personal. You're not just reading history books or descriptions, you're living it. And the fact that NPCs actually talk to you and the story doesn't just exist on YouTube in 30-minute videos about why America's left toe is the next DLC boss. But I digress. Because from playing you quickly get a sense of who the different factions are and the characters within them. The Druids are eco-terrorists, the Githyanki are space fascists, and the Absolute's cult is basically QAnon with tentacles. You could pick a side, or pick a fight, burn the grove, betray the Emperor, or join the Zendrim. And this goes beyond just characters, it's also in locations. Take the Hag's Lair. This isn't just a spooky dungeon, it's a character study. The Hag's victims, they're not just random corpses, each one tells a story. The door alone tells a better story than many other RPGs I've played. And the freedom in this game actually feels like freedom. It's not like in many other RPGs where choices are fake. Like Mass Effect where dialogue often boils down to yes or yes but mean. You can kill major NPCs early, you can skip plotlines of the main quest. The freedom isn't absolute and there are some restrictions, but it's barely noticeable, especially on a first playthrough. But let's get into one of the more important parts about any video game. The gameplay. But to do that, I think we first need to talk about the elephant in the room. How does Baldur's Gate 3 stack up to Larian's own Divinity Original Sin 2? If you played both, you know that they're kinda like siblings. But one's a free-spirited artist and the other's more restricted, more focused. Because Divinity Original Sin 2 was all about chaos. You could combine fire and poison to create explosions, teleport enemies into lava, or turn a puddle into an electrified death trap. The game was a sandbox for mad scientists, but that freedom did come at a cost. Ever tried building a blood mage in DOS 2? Turns out, you don't level necromancy for that. Instead, you pump warfare, because physical damage scaling is king. Not very intuitive, is it? Baldur's Gate 3 is different. It's built on 5th edition's bones, which means less anything goes and more curated systems. Classes have clear identities. Want to be a paladin? Smite first, ask questions later. A rogue, sneak attack is your bread and butter. It's harder to brick your character here. The game gently nudges you towards synergies. No more accidentally creating a wizard who can't cast fireball because you dumped intelligence. Does that mean that Baldur's Gate is simpler? Yes and no. Divinity's elemental combos and surface effects are mostly gone, replaced by D&D's streamlined action economy. Instead of juggling AP or action points, you've got actions, bonus actions and reactions. It's less about environmental chaos and more about tactical positioning, resource management and exploiting class features. Because here's a trade-off, DOS 2 lets you break the game. You could stack 10 buffs on a character, create nuclear explosions with barrels, or cheese fights by teleporting enemies into oblivion. Baldur's Gate 3's D&D roots keep things more grounded. You can't craft a thundering blood cloud because the rules of Faerun don't allow it. You could think about it like Magic the Gathering versus Hearthstone. Hearthstone can do wild, digital-only effects because it's not tied to physical cards. Baldur's Gate 3, it's shackled to D&D's rulebooks, but that's also one of its strengths. Because the upside? Accessibility. Baldur's Gate 3 welcomes newcomers. You don't need spreadsheets to build a functional character. This also does come with the downside for making truly insane characters, unless you multi-class. And this is where Baldur's Gate 3 depth can shine. If you mix a Gloomstalker Ranger with a Thief Rogue, you have a stealth machine gun. Or if you combine a Tavern Brawler Monk with elixirs of Hill Giant Strength, you can basically kill gods with just your fists. It's not DOS 2 freeform insanity, but it's still glorious. But why does all of this matter at all? Because Baldur's Gate 3 simplicity is why it could become a cultural phenomenon. Divinity was niche, it's still very good, but niche. You either loved its crunch or bounced off hard. Baldur's Gate 3, it's the gateway drug. It's D&D without the math anxiety. You don't need to know what a DC 15 dexterity saving throw means. You just click a button and the dice rolls for you. But let's be real, I miss the chaos sometimes. Now, the game isn't flawless. Act 3 is a lot. The city of Baldur's Gate 3 is overwhelming. The quests pile up, NPCs glitch, and the pacing stumbles. It's like Larian front-loaded the polish. And companion reactivity also drop off. In Act 1, everyone comments if you lick a dead spider. In Act 3, you can literally become a mind flayer and Gale is like, cool, wanna see a magic trick? And the romance system, look, I love that you can date a mind flayer, but some companions come on a bit strong. I'm looking at you, Gale. Creepy fuck. But here's the thing, even some of the flaws feel human. This doesn't feel like a corporate product, it's a labor of love, and for every bug, there is a moment of genius. And shout out to the soundtrack. Borislav Slavov's score is simply a masterpiece. From the haunting tavern tune to Raphael's villain anthem, which, by the way, slaps harder than it has any right to do. The music makes this world. Amelia Tyler's narrator? I loved her performance as Malady in DOS 2 and she is even better here. The fact that every NPC is voiced to this level is insanity, and that includes the animals. And the game has functioned almost as a wake-up call. In an era of microtransactions and half-baked live services, Larian proved that single-player, story-driven and complete games can dominate. Because the game didn't just raise the bar, it launched it into space. Suddenly every RPG is getting compared to it. Starfield, Where's the World? Dragon Age Veilguard, get better writing. But the real legacy of this game is player trust. In an era of broken launches and predatory microtransactions, Larian said, here's a complete game, no strings attached. Will other studios follow? Maybe. But for now, Baldur's Gate 3 is a reminder of what games can be. Art, escapism, and a damn good time. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'll have to go replay it for the 12th time. My dirge needs to apologize to that squirrel.